If you're running Proxmox VE version 7 and would like to upgrade to version 8, I'll go over the steps you'll need to go through to do the upgrade in this video. I'll mainly be following the upgrade steps covered in this Proxmox article, which I'll link to in the description below. Specifically, I'll go over the in-place upgrade portion of the article. To begin, I'll make sure my Proxmox 7 system meets the prerequisites to do the upgrade. For the node that I'll be working on, I see that it is currently running PVE-Manager 7.4-3, so I'll need to update the system. According to the Proxmox upgrade article, PVE-Manager needs to be at least at version 7.4-15. I haven't set up Ceph or Proxmox backup server on the node, so I don't have to worry about those prerequisites. The node that I'll be upgrading is local to me, so I won't have any access issues. It isn't part of a cluster, so no issues there as well. I won't worry about backups of the VM and container that I'm running because this is just a test installation for me, but make sure to back up any important VMs or containers in your environment. I've also already checked that the node I'll be upgrading has at least 5 gigs of free space on the root mount point as well. To check this on your system, you can bring up the Proxmox GUI, click shell, and run df-h from the command line. Here you can determine how much space is available on the root mount point of your system. Lastly, scroll down to the known upgrade issue section of the article and double check if any of the issues listed apply to the node or cluster you are looking to upgrade. Now I'll work on the one prerequisite that needs to be resolved on my node before being able to upgrade to Proxmox VE version 8, which is upgrading to at least PVE-Manager 7.4-15. To do this, I'll first bring up updates, then click refresh to display any packages that may be upgradable. We can see from the output that the node isn't authorized to use the Proxmox Enterprise repo because I didn't purchase a subscription. I'll need a working Proxmox repo to upgrade PVE-Manager, and I'll get to that in a few minutes. But in the meantime, I'll close this window, then click Upgrade to upgrade the Debian packages that have newer versions available. This brings up a separate shell window in another tab where I'll proceed with the upgrade. Once done, I'll close the shell window browser tab and bring up the Proxmox web GUI once again. Here I'll select repositories, then disable the pve-enterprise repo because, like I mentioned earlier, I don't have a subscription, so I won't be using the repo. I'll then click Add and add the No Subscription repo. Note that this repository is recommended for testing and non-production use, and not necessarily recommended for enterprise use, but for a home lab and test environment like mine, this repo should work fine. After adding the No Subscription repo, I'll bring up updates once again, then click Refresh to display the packages that are available. Here we can see that the refresh task completed successfully, so we know that we'll have some Proxmox packages that can be updated. I'll close the Task Viewer window, and now we see the Proxmox packages that are available to upgrade, including PVE-Manager, which will be upgraded to 7.4-16. I'll click on Upgrade, which brings up a separate shell window in another browser tab once again, where I'll continue with the upgrades. Once completed, I'll reboot the system because a new kernel was installed. Then, when the node is back online, from the Proxmox web GUI, we can see that PVE-Manager 7.4-16 is currently running, so the system is all set to do the upgrade to version 8. I'll just do one more check to see if any additional packages can be upgraded, and nothing was found, so I'm all set with a completely up-to-date Proxmox node. At this point, I'm ready to do the upgrade to Proxmox VE version 8, and it is recommended that the upgrade steps take place from either an SSH connection or, even better, from the actual console of the node. I do have console access, so that is what I'll use for the upgrade process. I'll log into the node, then run the command pve-728 --full and pipe the output through more so I can scroll through the output more easily. we can see that there is a warning because 2 running guests were detected. I'll resolve this by bringing up the Proxmox web GUI, then shut down the container and VM that are running. Back on the console, I'll run the PVE-728 command once again, and now the warning is no longer there, and all checks have passed except for a few skipped items, which are checks on things that aren't being used by the node. Now I'll run this sed command that replaces all instances of bullseye with bookworm in the etc app source list file. This basically updates the repositories being used to the latest version of Debian and Proxmox. We can see the changes here when I cat the file. Also, if you are using the enterprise repo, you should update the pve-enterprise.list file, but in my case, this repository isn't being used, so updating the file isn't needed. Now I'm ready to do the upgrade to Proxmox 8, so I'll run apt update. Then, after the command completes, I'll run apt dist-upgrade, then continue with the installation. As the packages get upgraded, there are a few stop points along the way, and the first for me was this apt-list changes output. Here you can read through the various changes or press Q to quit and continue. Next, I was prompted to configure the keyboard layout where English US was already selected and the right one for me, so I selected OK. For the etc issue configuration file, I selected the default option of No. At this stop point, I was provided a choice of being prompted for when a service needs to be restarted throughout the installation process or to restart the services without asking. In my case, I'll select Yes to restart services without asking. For the OpenSSH configuration, I'll leave Keep the local version currently installed and select OK. For the lvm.conf file, I'll select the default option of No. Then for the pve-enterprise.list file, I'll once again select the default option of No because I don't plan to use the enterprise repo, as I mentioned earlier. After the installation is done, I'll reboot the system, and back in the Proxmox web GUI, we can see that I am now running Proxmox VE version 8.0.3. I can now start up the container and VM that I had installed, and everything came up fine, so it looks like the upgrade was successful. If, however, you would like to do a fresh install of Proxmox 8, check out this video listed here on screen. Also, if you would like to support my work or hire me for a project, check out the links either here on screen or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching.